right, so welcome to another interview. Today we have the legendary Stephen Pryce with us. How are you doing, Steve?
How you doing, Romeo? Good.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Good to know that you're great. So, Steve, we're going to start just with some background information on you. Steve, where did you grow up?
Bradford, England. Played Queensbury and West Bowling. I started at Queensbury.
Oh, okay.
It was like Basil Richards, Craig Richards, Dennis Pryce, Leon Pryce has played there, Carl, Wayne. There's been a few players, yeah.
And what age were you when you started playing rugby league?
I started playing when I was about 6 years old, yeah. Amateur club.
Okay. And tell us about your time in the professional ranks. I know you have played at Hunslet. You're a Hunslet legend. Tell us about Hunslet. And were there other clubs, pro clubs that you played for?
I first started playing at Rydell York. My brother Jeffrey, who died last year, he got me playing. I first started playing at amateur club, and then I played professional, and then I went to York. Played at York signed on with James Luluwai and Tuwari Nekau. Who was a fantastic player. But I had with Jeff, my brother Jeff. He was an awesome player. He was the hero of the team.
And what was it like playing with your brother, Steve? Because not many people get a chance to play with their siblings. What was that experience?
Playing, like I said before, Jeffrey was an outstanding individual who just didn't need to train as much as a lot of people talked about. Never trained as much, but he was a player that could just walk on the field. And if he wanted to score a try, he scored a try. If he did something, he was just one of these awesome individuals. Your Ellery Hanleys, he naturally gifted players.
Sounds as if it was a great experience. And so what position did you play, Steve, at
I first started professional. People would laugh when I say I started on the wing first.
Wow,
I started on the wing.
Yeah. I would laugh too. Wow, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, I started on the wing first. That was how I was first started. And I started on the wing. Jeffrey was on the wing centre, second row. And it was really hard, especially with the supporters, because when I played at York, I had a lot of supporters on my back. So when I played and I was on the wing, it was hard because Jeffrey was this individual that was a great player. And I wasn't as good as Jeff. And it took me a long time. I think the best move was when people told me to leave the club. And it wasn't as a bad thing. It was just to leave to further my career.
Okay, and then is it that you went to Hunslet afterwards?
I went to Hunslet, and I always remember signing on for Hunslet, and the coach didn't tell anybody. He kept it quiet. Steve Edis, and he's told everybody. He said, "I've got this new signing player. He's an outstanding player. Blah, blah, blah. He's one of the best players you'll ever meet." And I walked in the change rooms, and they all went, and the coach went, "It's Steve Pryce," and a lot of the players didn't clap. All the team said, all the change room said was, "Oh, it was the wrong price." They were expecting our Jeff to walk in the change rooms.
Legendary! Wow.
Yeah. Everybody was expecting Jeff to walk into the change rooms.
But that must have inspired you, though, Steve, to
I think it was hard for me because Jeffrey was his player that could get the ball and score tries, and everybody used to say, "Oh, well, you're nothing like Jeff." And he used to say, "No, I'm not." And then the coaches used to say, one of the coaches, Steve Ferris, he wanted me to play like Jeffrey. Well, I couldn't be. And some of the individuals some people just wanted me to play as I enjoyed it. And I think I more or less enjoyed it more humbler.
So tell me, Steve, what was your
with the supporters?
Tell me 2 of your best moments as a Hunslet Hawks player. What were 2 of your best moments, 2 of your best memories?
I've got to say Wembley. Played at Wembley. That was 1997. That was Wembley Hulk year. And then probably people talk about games, and I always say Wembley, and then I always say 2 of my best games. I think Lee was the game where I was told as an individual that it kind of would have been my last game for the club. And I had to play against the best player. The best player, I played against a guy called Tim Street, who everybody remembers him. And he was one of the best players you ever met. Okay. And it was probably one of my best games ever. It was my best games. And that was 1997. That was like, I think we were like 5th or 6th in the league. And then it was one of them games where I had to play well. I had to play well.
So and what can you think of any low point? Is there any moment that
low points? We played against a French team in one of the Challenge Cup games. I remember getting beat. And just not the whole of the team just not performing. I can remember that. Probably that's probably one of the lowest of the lowest.
Were there any grand finals that you went into that you lost?
Oh, I played in the grand final 1999. The grand final we played in, and it was kind of unbelievable because we weren't expected to get to there. We got to the final, played at Wembley, got to the final, played at Elland Road. We had some good individual players. We weren't expected to win, but when we went to the grand final, there was a players who just went on. I think we just performed as a team. When you perform as a team, instead of like a certain individual that they're relying on, I think we just clicked on the same time. That's great experience.
All right, that sounds like some good experiences, Steve. So we're gonna move on and talk a little bit now about your involvement with the West Indies Rugby League and with Jamaica Rugby League. Now, legend has it, Steve, that you were one of, if not the first person to start to float around the idea of a West Indies Rugby League team. Can you tell us a little bit about the genesis there of the West Indies Rugby League team from your memory as one of the earliest?
Well, we said the West Indies started because we was coming back. I remember going to Wembley. I always remember going to Wembley, and then we were just, I mean, as an individual saying, "Oh, it'd be great if West Indies or Jamaica, had a black rugby team. It'd be great." And there were players, David Brooke and Mick Coyle, just started laughing. 2 individual players, and they said, "Oh, what are you going to have a team of 13 wingers?" And I just started laughing. I said, "No, you could." And then I wrote down players like there were Des Drummond, Craig Richards, Basil Richards. There were players, Roger Simpson, who I thought was great individuals. And then everybody was saying, "Oh, you're just imagining it." And then it just happened a few years later where we just wrote down, I didn't just write down a team. What happened to play in the York Nines.
So
York Nines.
So all right. So moving from, so it was an idea. You remember speaking about it as you traveled from Wembley. How did it get to the stage where there was actually someone organizing this team? I mean, did you speak to somebody? Did you float the idea with anybody specifically?
Yeah, there was
the team?
Dean Thomas. Dean Thomas mentioned it. And we just mentioned about, just getting a team together. Would it be possible for us to try and put a team together? And virtually, I said, we're going to base it around. And there was a player called Jermaine Ray. Jermaine Ray was a fantastic hooker. Bit of an attitude, but he was probably one of the best players I've ever seen at professional level. And then we took players, I remember players we took players to York and everything. Remember Ryan Atkins is now at York. Ryan Atkins, who played at Warrington and everything. But when Ryan was a young little 16-year-old kid, took him away. And there was Ryan Selwyn, who played at Newcastle. There's some other players, and we just took them. A lot of them was rugby union players, so we just took them training.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, just teaching them the basics.
And did you yourself play, Steve, in that first?
The York Nines. In the York Nines, didn't play. Sorry, there was also Roy Sampson as well. Roy Sampson was assistant coach at York, Hunslet. Roy Sampson, and then we took Roy. There was Ryan. I didn't play. I just trained. I took the forwards to one side. I took them all training and everything, but I didn't play.
And how did the team perform in some of those nines? Because the team actually won some of those nines, didn't they? How
but we actually won the York Nines. We won the games. It was that was probably one of the best experiences I loved, because it was my old team, and it was York at York, and we played York in the final, and we beat them.
Wow, must have been a hair-tingling experience. And what do you think the formation of the West Indies team? What impact do you think it had, Steve, on the players who were of West Indian and Caribbean heritage, hearing about the formation of this team? How did it impact the West Indian community at the time?
At the time, like I said before, a lot of the players, the West Indian players, were like, they couldn't believe this thing happened. And I told everybody, I said, now we just started a little thing, and it's being based on from this little thing into this massive thing. And could we further it on? Could we get it better? And that's just it virtually started from the West Indies to this small little thing into a big little thing.
And Steve, I know that there's an interesting story a lot of people don't know, but you actually have an international cap for Jamaica.
In
2009, you went with Jamaica to play against the USA. I remember I was there. You were part of the coaching staff, but
yes, and I played. Yeah,
you had to play. Tell us about that experience and what that meant for you, Steve.
There was like players. We had players like Jermaine and all the rest of the team, Michael Brown and everything, and we had a fairly good team against a very great America team. And then I helped him train, but he came to the naming the squad, and there were 1 or 2 injuries, and then they said, Stephen, can you play? We need you to play. And I started laughing at first because I haven't played for about 5-6 years. And I remember playing, and I told people, I said, I've never been in an experience of a game where you had to play, and it was an international game. People didn't understand. The players who played couldn't understand. about playing an international game, and I told people, I said, playing an international game was an awesome feeling, and having an international shirt and playing for my own country, my mother's and my father's and my grandparents, their country, and it was unbelievable. Probably the best feeling I ever had. For me, it was.
Yeah, I do remember that occasion, Stephen. How do you feel that you went? I mean, I saw you putting on some licks out there, man. How was it? How was the physicality? How did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it. It was an awesome game, and playing against the Americans, and the Americans had a few New Zealanders playing for them and everything, and Australians. And for me to be natural, I think it was different for me because of my nationality, and it was hard explaining to other players, come on lads, we're up for the game, blah blah blah, playing for Jamaica, and then I remember going out, and it was the first time where we walked out on the field, and then you heard the national anthem, and you had to stand there, and it was just this awesome feeling of hearing the Jamaican national anthem and singing it, and it was unbelievable. I told people it was one of the most awesome feelings ever.
I can just imagine, man. And I mean, how proud are you of the team now? I mean, Jamaica, in the World Cup 2021.
Well, as I said before, a lot of people laughed first. A lot of the players or individuals who I knew, it was all laughing, saying, "Oh, Jamaican, I'll never do this." But Jamaica's there in the World Cup now. They're now playing in the World Cup 2021 in England. They're based in England, in Leeds. So I've told people, I said, it's great. Some of the players who were there at the time always kind of laughed at it and thought it never happened. And I told people now it's happened. It's 2021. We talked about it years ago, 1997, and it's happened.
Wow, absolutely awesome, dear Steve.
Yeah.
And looking at how things are now, I mean, how hopeful are you for the future of rugby league, both in the Caribbean communities in the UK, where you live, and also your hopes for the game, on the island in Jamaica?
Well, hoping, like I said before, it's now getting to the stage where players now have got to stand up now for themselves, and they want to play and tell people and know about not just about the physicality of the game, about playing the game and enjoying the atmosphere. And like I said before, they're playing in the World Cup in England, and then they'll be playing against New Zealand. New Zealand will be in the squad. There's other teams not in the squad, in the top 4 team.
Ireland and Lebanon.
Yeah, and I think it'll be a fantastic experience. It'll just be a great experience for a lot of players. Hopefully.
All right, so switching gear just a little bit, Steve. So boxing, I realize that you're a great boxing aficionado, a great boxing fan, and you have gone a couple rounds yourself, man. Tell me about your experience with boxing.
I was asked a few years ago about some boxing challenge, and I did one. My first one I did was in Oceana nightclub. I did one in Oceana nightclub, and there were about 1,000 people, 1,000 people turned up, which I thought was just an awesome experience. I learned a lot more about not just playing, is getting up, walking into the ring, the experience of the crowd, what they shout, you never be a good guy, you be a bad guy. And my first boxing fight, I played a fight, I fought against a professional, and I thought I'd do well. Never expected to win, and I won.
Wow.
And that was a great experience. The second one was against a butcher, a very tough guy, and I did training. I trained for about 3 months, and I think probably the fittest in sport wise I'd probably had ever been, and that was a just different experience, but a great experience.
Awesome. So clearly another passion of yours, along with rugby league. And as we close out today's interview, Steve, tell us 2 fun things about Steve that a lot of people don't know.
2 fun things.
Yeah, or 2 things that people wouldn't know about you.
Just trying to think about it. I think a lot of people remember me at the league game. And people said, I remember playing, when we played Lee, during the kickoff, and then we're doing the warm-up. And as we're going out, there's TV there, there's Sky there, there's everything, the mascots, everybody's there. And I was under the tunnel. And as we're going out, it's hundreds of people. I just remember hundreds of people. And then I was getting nudged and blah, blah, blah. And Tim Street was next to me. He was virtually next to me. So I was told, if I was near him, game was on. Don't expect to play when the whistle blows. The game goes on when you see him. And I saw him. And I always remember kicking off. And I remember having a fight not in the warm-up, in the tunnel. I always remember fighting in the tunnel.
Come on, everybody serious.
Everybody thought I was nuts. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe fighting this guy under the tunnel just before we're going out, and then we're going out, and then begging for the league to kick it to me. I begged them to kick the ball to me.
Wow, that's
and
so
everybody
mad
said,
stuff there, Steve. Wow, you're lucky you didn't get a red card. You started fighting before the game.
No, because I was never expecting. That wasn't in my game. I told people it wasn't in my game, but I learned from then that the games of rugby could be a lot more easier. I remember playing that year, and when I played that year, rugby league seemed a lot easier because I got a bit more aggressive. I learned to be more aggressive, maybe 6-7 more games towards the end of the season. So I learned to be more aggressive.
Yeah, that really is some story, Steve. My word. I'm sure he remembers,
Pardon?
No, I'm sure he will remember that, that's an interesting.
It was one of them games, it was Tim Street, kind of player. Everybody goes, the best player you played against, hardest. And I always say, Tim Street. And everybody goes, why? And I said, it was just a game I knew I had to perform. And I had to do everything, aggressive, tackling-wise, everything. And it was just, when you were at the game, supporters used to say, it wasn't me. But it was me, kind of.
You were just switched on.
Yeah, it was one of them games where you can say I was switched on. But I always tell people, I said, that was a game where from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I was switched on.
Man, that's something. And as we close our, Steve, I just want to say for the record, for all the fans, that you have been at the forefront contributing to the development of the game of rugby league in Jamaica. A lot of people may not know that you actually came to Jamaica in 2008 with Dean Thomas, conducting courses. A lot of people may not know that when the domestic Jamaica lads came to England, you put them up at your place. You know, you inconvenienced yourself. You had 10 lads crashing, you know, at your place. You took care of them, fed them, you know. So I want to say big up, Steve. You're a legend of the game. You know, for those of us like myself who have been there from the early days, you know, we know the many contributions that you and others have made. You know, and you stay in touch with what is happening. You love the program, and you have given so much of your own time and personal resources, you know, to help move the game forward. And I just want to say for the record that, you know, all the rugby league family in Jamaica appreciate all the things you have done and all the things you continue to do to promote rugby league in Jamaica, Steve. So big up yourself, man. Stay healthy, stay boxing, and I hope we don't have to give you another shirt to run out in the World Cup.
No,
you know?
that will never happen again. Sorry, but yes, it was a great experience, fantastic experience. But I'm sorry, I'll never ever put a Jamaican shirt on to play.
No. Sorry, listen, there are rumors that Masters Rugby League, Reggae Warriors Masters Rugby League is coming, Steve. So.
Oh, no, Reggae Warriors, yeah. Well, you never know. I never know.
Exactly. So don't count out another shirt just yet. All right. So great to have you.
You'll have to get your shirt as well, Romeo, as well. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'll be running out beside you, man, in that Masters game, you know. Just stay away from my bad knee, you know. But Steve, great to have you on today. Great to chat with you. Great to hear a little bit about your history, how you started the game. And, you know, great to hear from your own voice, with your own voice about the initial seeding of the West Indies Rugby League idea, because a lot of people don't really know or understand those early days. So it was great having you, Steve. Stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll talk again. Walk good, okay?
Okay, then. Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you. Hope to see you all in the World Cup fixtures when Jamaica play. Hope to see you all. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Steve.